Good afternoon, Shaggy SoCal 2 Forza, and time for the second track guide for the upcoming races for Thursday in this 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia. It is the Nurburgring Sprint circuit. I'm just going to get straight away out and run some laps, kind of resort out what I'm trying to do here. Then I'll do a slower kind of track walk, to point out specific things I'm looking for, what I think the car likes to do, what it doesn't like, and then kind of try and validate race distance against the drivatars, and hopefully give you good tire guidance advice this time. So second gear, watch the wheel spin there, quick brake, apex, unwind the wheel, still not quick through there, brake, turn in, come on, cold tires, keep it inside there, maintenance throttle, third gear, watch the wheel spin out. That's a little bit further out than I want to go there. Brake at the 100 board, down to second, out a little bit. You can double apex or to hug the inside. I think either works. You can even light apex it. A couple different lines through there, depending on your comfort. To third gear. Okay, down the back straightaway. Hopefully get a good run. Let's see how well I do the chicane the first time. And I'm late. Yeah, that's why we practice. Go around, try it again. This circuit, I don't know that you need traction control, but there's enough slow corners where if you're struggling with wheel spin, there's no shame in using it. Still pushing a little bit there. Tell I haven't driven here in a bit in this car. Find a better way through there. And second gear. A little bit late. Ideally, I like to do third gear there, and that curbing, you can abuse it, but you want to get, if you're going to use that inside curbing, the left-hander, you want to get the left side on the green part. You don't want to kiss it. All right, let's brake a little bit sooner here. Let's go at the 150. This is probably a little soon. Oh, maybe not. That's almost what I want to do. So I'm going to do one more flyer. Still a little bit late through there. It's always a weird... Okay, we'll do third gear this time. A little bit better. This is I really don't like this part of the circuit. That's going to catch a lot of us out during the race. That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to use that curbing, use it. All right. Third time's the charm. I thought the 150 board was too early, but that might be just right. It's a little bit late, but That's about the well as I've taken at that point, but it's still sketchy on the way out. Okay. All right, so let's do the slower lap of Nurburgring here. So coming down the front stretch, what I'm going to be looking for is uh, on the medium tire, especially on the hards. I'm looking for the 150 board, but I guarantee at least at least the laps I was doing at the controller. Again, the controller has its benefits and issues, but I'm looking at the 150 board. But I'm not going to wait till I get to the 150 board to start braking. I'm actually going to brake shortly before it. So it's probably going to be coming down the front straightaway. The second I can spot where that 150 board is, get that kind of targeted, then I'll kind of gauge. Okay, I'm on the hard tire. I need to brake a little bit before it. So maybe it's let me back up a little bit further. Are there other things on the left side that I can go off of? So, but generally, I'm going to be braking just before the 150. Brake, 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 brake. This is one of the hardest turns for me to get right consistently. So I'm braking. And for me, I'm always trying to use more brake than to bury the engine in the rev limiter because that to me binds the rear of the car up. Which, if you're braking in a straight line, is probably not too horrible. But if you're still buried in the rev limiter when you're trying to release the brakes and turn in, that it's just gonna, at least in my opinion, at least in my experience, it binds the back of the car up and it just makes it a little more sketchy to try and get the car turned in. To each their own. If you can make it work, more power to you. It's just not something I'm ever comfortable with. I'd rather the engine braking be more to supplement, braking than to rely on the engine to do the work for me. But that's my opinion. So down to second gear. If I'm about this point, whoops, if I find I'm about here and that I feel like the car's still gonna push a little wide, I might drop it to first to help. Again, that's where it's like, yep, I need a little more help. Let me drop it to first. But then hopefully, if it goes into the rev limiter, it's immediately coming down and that we're out of it because I need the car out of the rev limiter, not banging off the rev limiter as I'm releasing the brakes to try and turn the car in. So ideally, if I do it right, I want to be in second gear at this point. First, if I absolutely have to get the car slowed down. But I would say even if I'm in first at this point where I'm released the brakes and I'm turning in, I want to try and get it back to second gear. But if I do it right, ideally, I'm not going to count on the apex bollard being there the entire race. I'm pretty sure more than one of us is going to take that thing out. But at least for me, I'm going to try and get the car where, I'm at the curbing on the at the apex. Again, bringing the car out in second gear. Now, if you notice, let me just back up here a little bit. As you get into the apex here of turn one, as I run over, see, told you, we're going to run over that bollard. You can see how the track, you do get a little bit, it, you do have a slight bit of banking into the apex. But as you start to roll in the throttle out of the corner, especially in second gear, it's going to be high in second gear. You might short shift to third, but it's going to flatten out. Maybe a little bit of a crown. The back end's going to want to step out because you're still going to have quite a bit of steering as you're trying to roll back into the throttle. So, if you can work your throttle input as you're unwinding the wheel, you'll probably be fine. If you're on TC traction control, you'll be fine on the way out. You just want to make sure that TC is kicking in to keep the tires from spinning up because the car is going straight, not because the back end's stepping out. Because that stepping out when kicking in is going to kill any momentum up the hill. So there's that. So second gear, third gear. These next couple of turns, I'm still struggling with as far as getting consistent. What I'm trying to do, I think what I'm trying to do here is third gear, top of the hill, a little bit of a break. To me, this is a late apexer, so I'm actually aiming to try and get it to the curb about here, and because I'm looking at you know tire marks or the ruts that are in the grass or on the inside of the curb. I'm not going to try and get under the inside of the curb. I just want to use that as a guide. um, but the apex is kind of where, for me, where we're at the crest of the hill. It's going to start going down, so it's about where I want it to be. Where I'm struggling is how confident I can get back to the throttle out, because there's a bit more room on the outside than I think there is, but I want to be able to get back in the throttle as soon as possible, let the car come out to the right side as I head down the hill. At least right now in test drive, it is very difficult to gauge exactly where to brake. It is kind of like Lime Rock. It's the braking for this next left-hander is right before it flattens out. You can kind of see the start of the rubbering line into the corner. So I'm probably going to brake just before that. There is, as I'm kind of looking left and right, I don't know how well my eyes will spot it during the race, but I can kind of see, you've got the rain gutters there with the green patch coming down. That might be a good reference there. We'll see how well I can spot that in the race. Yeah, because that might be easy to spot. So the braking is about here, third gear down to second. And what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to late apex this one as, like exit on the left side. Like I want to get to the curbing and hold it here all the way till it ends, and ideally be here because I'm trying to open up this next corner. My habit with this next one is I tend to turn in early, and again, this car doesn't like sudden elevation or curbing changes, and this turn is not a good turn for this car. Um, Ideally, I would love to be able to get the turn in later and late apex that bump. But more often than not, what's going to happen is I'm going to turn in early, probably short shift to third. What I'm trying to avoid doing is this, and maybe who knows? I'll be playing with this in the race. I don't want to apex this early and have the car bounce, and then kind of have the front end of the car push out early on exit. If I can turn in a smidgen later, and that's my problem, is I have trouble with timing. I'd almost rather, if I can turn in a little bit later, where I'm more here, and we'll see how we do a lap over lap. But if I can get the car angle over to later apex, where maybe I'm apexing towards the end of the curbing, that gives me, I can, get a straighter angle out. I don't have to worry about it. I'm still going to use the exit, cross over the line on the outside of this corner. Um, but it's like I'm not getting out there all of a sudden, or I'm not still having a lot of steering. I'm trying to be as straight as possible. So still working on that one. But ultimately on the exit, I am going to bring the car out. I am going to straddle, I'm going to straddle the this transition line when we're doing the Nordschleife GP. We come out of turn one through here. I am going to straddle this. I'm going to aim to get the left sides on the green curbing on the way out, and then keep the car to the left side. Braking for this next hairpin on the sprint circuit is, for me, it's at the 100 board. I have my preferred line through here, though I would say there's three different things you can do in this corner. It is kind of, you can hug the inside the whole way through, you can double apex it, or you can late apex it. I don't know that one is quicker than the other. I think it's just driver preference and what seems to work best for you. For me, it is more of I will probably hug the inside through the corner more often than not. It might be a little bit of a two apexer, especially if I carry too much speed in. But brake down to second gear, release the brakes in. So here's the first apex. Now, if you're going to do the two apexer, you can bring the car out and then late apex on the way back, though that's not quite the late apex there. So that's one way of doing it. I could just use the rewind, but this is more fun. You could brake, and be wide going in, hold the outside here, and then cut back just past the access road, and that would be the late apex. Again, the late apex is fine on your own, but if you're going to try that and you got somebody right behind you and they're a little impatient, they might try to stick their nose in there and keep you wide. So I couldn't spin at that time. But more often than not, what I'm going to be trying to do is to carry the speed in, and if I do it right, I'll hold the inside all the way through, and then roll in the throttle as I get out of the corner there. I may or may not get on the outside curbing. Again, that's another one of those where if I'm going to get on the curbing, I'm going to get on that curbing. I'm going to get up on the get up where it flattens out. I don't want to be in a position where I've still got steering angle in, and I kiss the red and white curbing there with the outside tires, because that'll unsettle the back. So if I'm going to use this, I'm going to get up on the bricks on the other side and then bring the car back across. Other than that, I'll probably be neat and tidy and keep all 4 tires on the racetrack. Setting up for the next turn here, second gear, maybe third gear. Braking is going to be just as you get to the green tarmac. I tend not to go to the outside here. I don't know how different the grip is, especially if I have to do, because we do have to do a little bit of braking for this corner. So I'll probably keep all 4 tires on the racetrack here. But much like the exit of the previous corner, this inside curbing, as I turn in past the 50 board, I think for me the turn in is somewhere. It's no later than where the green tarmac ends, but not. I don't think it's any earlier than the 50 board. So it's somewhere in there. I'm releasing the brakes, turning in. If you want to keep all 4 tires on the track, that's fine. If you're going to abuse this curbing, get the left sides onto the green. I think that's you're less likely to have the back end do anything weird as you transition on and off the curbing. Let the car come out. Still third gear. Bring the car back out to the left side. I'm braking. I'm mostly looking right now. I'm mostly looking to the inside about where that temporary light fixture goes off screen. It's almost about the same point where I'm reaching I'm in reverse, where I'm seeing the corner workers shack there on the outside. So it's a quick brake there to get the car settled in. Still third gear, release and turn in, and then again balance the car with the throttle, maintenance throttle, accelerate on the way out, onto the back straightaway. And this is pretty, you can do this flat no matter what. I'll probably stay off the curbing. Braking for the chicane. This is the other thing I'll still be working on, trying to figure out, because ultimately what I'm trying to do is I want to brake. I want to try and take the chicane as straight as possible. Get the car in, minimum amount of steering, carry as much speed through as possible. So right now, at least, I'm going to brake probably about the 150 board, maybe a little past it. If I do it right, as I'm braking, I'm trying to spot the inside yellow curbing as soon as possible. And this is that whole timing thing. It's like, okay, am I not giving enough brake because I'm like, and then all of a sudden I have to give more brake right before I have to turn in. I'm still learning that one. But if I do it right, I'm getting most of my braking done, on the brakes even, downshifting, maybe a little bit of engine braking, but again, I don't like banging off the rev limiter. But as soon as I can spot that yellow inside curbing, if I've done my job right, I'll be able to feed the brakes out and turn in. And what I'm trying to do is arc the car in so that I can straddle, just straddle the yellow curb, so I'm not hitting it, line up, be a little straight here, actually start to turn the car this way, again straddling the yellow curb, and roll into the throttle on the way out. And maybe get to third really quick. I'm still working on when I need to shift. That ideally is what I'm going to be trying to do. Won't always happen. I think early in the race, I'm probably going to be missing the first curbing entirely, which then it's going to tighten up the second part and I'll be a little slow on the way out. I might get it sorted out. Ultimately, if I do well with that, and especially if I'm catching slower cars, hopefully get the timing worked out where I'm far enough back that on the exit, I don't have to compromise my line through, but then on the exit, I'm carrying enough speed that if they've bobbled, I can get the run alongside heading up here to the final corner. So it's one of those, for me, it's one of those, I don't know that I would, for my preferences, I won't try and set up a pass into that corner. I won't try and force a pass into that corner if I'm not quite alongside. But if I'm kind of close, I might back off a little early to try and set up a run out of here. And that's getting into the race portion. So let's finish out the last turn here. So second gear, third gear. Don't know if I'm getting to fourth. I'm using this big light pole on the right side As that goes out of view, that's where I'm kind of using the brake for the final corner. Down to second gear. For me, the apex, I'm trying to get the car turned in and to the curbing where the Armco starts. And then if I have it here, balance, balance, balance. After the curbing ends, I'm going to start unwinding the wheel. Second, maybe get up to third gear out of the corner. Might get onto the curbing here a little bit. That one's not going to bother me that much. Get it back on the front straightaway, and that's a lap of Nurburgring Sprint. So again, a little bit more technical circuit than Lime Rock. And again, I have the turns that I kind of don't like. I don't like that initial, 2 or 3 turns in the inner loop, but it is what it is. We all have to deal with it. So let's set up a race and see what Forza is going to throw at me. Advanced event setup. Alfa Romeo. And let's go ahead and load. We'll load the Hakone. Save settings, and we'll make adjustments from there. Okay, so let's go alphabetical order. Nurburgring Sprint circuit. And this one, not quite as many laps as Lime Rock. At least I got the lap count right. Okay, Nurburgring Sprint. It looks like we are doing 17 laps. We'll do random, rolling. No, time progression rolling. That's right on. This needs to be 40. Random is fine. Again, I don't want to run in the rain. Them rules. That's all good. All right, let's go ahead and load in. How are we doing on time? I'm doing pretty good. Okay, and looming clouds at 2 p.m. So not going to have to deal with sun, but an interesting cloud cover. Okay, now let me make sure. No, Nurburgring Sprint. So 60% mark hit here at Nurburgring Sprint on laps 5, 7, and 10. So for soft, medium, hard, 5, 7, 10. 17 lap race. So this is an easy one stopper on mediums and hards. If you want to try though, the obvious 2-stop strategy is you could do a soft medium and still get the 17 laps that way. Again, this is assuming it is 17 laps. But I think as we're finding out with the slightly shorter race distance, since we're incorporating qualifying, that 5 minutes less is enough where it's like, yeah, one-stop strategy. If you can make it work, that's usually the one that's going to get you towards the front than trying to run a 2-stop on softer compounds. That's been my experience so far. But with that, let's go ahead and let's set up for the race. So I am going to 18. So we got 18. 2 clicks into 18. That should make sure I have enough fuel. Let's go ahead and run. Let's go ahead and run the. We'll run the hards there for 10 laps, and then we'll finish on the mediums. Yeah, this makes much more sense than what I ran into with. Why am I getting like 15, 16 laps when I said 10? No, it's because I read the wrong tire strategies. That's why never hire me as a race strategist. Unless you're Ferrari. Here we go. Outside. Tire's going to be very cold, so it can break just... Ooh, yeah, you guys are really slowing down here. If I thought about that, I might have tried taking the inside line, but somebody's there. Yeah, it's just the exit of that one, of getting used to where, you know, that I can let the car drift out a little bit more than I'm expecting. That's the other thing about going way too far to the inside. There's an extra bit of curb there that'll bounce the car. Oh, a little too quick in. If I had planned that better, it would have been a little further back, entering that corner, so that I could, you know, get the run out without running into the back of it. The only other risk of using the curbs, the second curb, is you might not be able to get back to the throttle as early as you think. Should be able to get a run here. Yep, very easy. Still a little off the apex there. Still working on that one. It's such an awkward corner. And maybe that was a little too much curb. A little early on the entry there. That's about the best I've taken that so far. A little bit of a draft. Are you going to hold the inside? Please don't move back over. Please don't move over. Thank you. That's a better line. I should try that line that the car in front of me just did. There's the late apexer. Again, can't be. I don't know. Maybe I'm rethinking traction control on this circuit. We'll see. I prefer to run without it if I can, but you know, if it rains here, oh yeah, definitely using traction control. So a little bit late. Again, if you notice, as I'm crossing over the curbs, I'm off the throttle. I do not want to do anything that's going to introduce wheel spin until I'm sure that all four tires are back on the road. Nope. Okay, first gear's not good through there. run this time. I'm going to take a look. So again, I will attempt passes going into the chicane, but only if I know I'm going to get alongside before braking. I don't want to try to out-brake somebody into that chicane. Generally out-braking, we're all braking about the same point, so I'd rather really focus on getting a better exit out of the previous corner so that I can be alongside or past by the time I get to the braking for the next one. It's the safest way to get a pass done. Now, last lap, last corner, who knows? It's just... Alfa does not like that right-hander. Shallow. It's going to cost me a little exit speed. I need to try and be a little wider out on turn in. Close enough to get a run, but maybe be able to set something up on the front straightaway here, depending on how good of an exit I get. Not as good as electric in front of me. And touring cars, they better handling and acceleration. Yeah, that's about the best I've taken that turn so far. Just second gear, it's weird too, because second gear feels a little high in the rev range for it, but third is way too low. I'm turning in a lot earlier there than I think I am, but okay, so I'm a little bit closer now to electric. I'll probably cut that gap. I'll probably be right. Oh, I'm going to be right on their tail out of the chicane. Not sure if he's going to take that tight of a line through. Excuse me. Okay. Pit stops are going. How are we doing on tires? Pretty good. You can see how far the rubbered in line goes out to the right there. I don't know I like that. It's a little bit late. I don't know. Maybe double apexing that is better. That's a better line. Ah, that's good. That was a good one. I'll take that. Again, it's like once the tires kind of get past that 30% mark, that's when they seem to hook up. Maybe the rubber in line is not as bad as I thought it was. I think you have to be so patient on the throttle through those corners. Running in a little bit early, but it's okay. At least it didn't hit the wall. Got Dan Greenwald's Drivatar behind me. A little more of the inside because I don't know what day we're going to do. We'll late apex this one this time. There we go. Might be able to get 11 laps, but no, we'll pit at the end of lap 10. I don't know that this is a circuit that I would want to. Oh, excuse me. I'd want to be out on past 60% or much past 60%. A little late and needed to. You heard the lock up there. Just get the car slowed down. Oh, Dan, you cannot pass. Yeah, definitely pushing now. Just carried a little too much speed through there, and again, we're past 50%, so the car's going to push just that smidgen more, but that's okay. It's the in lap. Not an ideal in lap, but okay. So pit entry is not going to catch you until you reach the wall, so you're going to have to brake. Hopefully, nobody hits the inside wall or goes wide, and going to go medium and skip. Back in 13th. I'll probably inherit a few more positions if the touring cars are all going to make 2 stops, or most of them are going to make 2 stops, but maybe the late apex is a more consistent way through there, so late, that's fine, just work with it. Mistakes are going to happen. You don't want to compound it by panicking. Yeah, the car's pushing wide, fine, just get the car slowed down. You're a little wide on exit, just gather it back up, and the quicker you can kind of get back going and get back into rhythm, you know, you want to minimize the amount of time that's lost. Even if you hit a thing where you spin out, it's like, yep, it sucks. You have that moment. Just take a deep breath, get the car going, put your head down. I almost missed my braking there. Early, it's going to buck the car a little bit. I think what's happening is I'm braking a little bit late there now. Right-hander. We're in the top 10. Okay, that's about the best I've done the hairpin there. Let's see if I can do that again. Prove it wasn't a fluke. And that gutter on the right side is actually a pretty good reference point for me. If I can barely see it just with the current conditions. And early, that's a time penalty, half second.
Total time penalty is about half a second.
That's what I thought. And as I push wide there, now that the track is really rubbering in, I'm kind of relying a little more on where those rubbered in patches show up to kind of help find my braking. That's late. More often than not, that's how I'm probably going to take that chicane. Just, I miss my braking, or I don't slow it down as much as I think I need to. It happens.
Three more.
Racing action here to close the race out. At this point, I don't think I'm going to catch. I'm not going to catch the lead of the race, but let's see if I can. And I'm assuming at this point that Triumph Rider in front of me is on soft tires. So I don't know that I will be able to catch him once those tires are temp. That's why you want to make sure you straddle those curves if you can, because if you get on them with the sides, with one side of the tires, it'll upset the car a little bit. This car gets upset very easily. 1.8, 1.7 to see if we can knock any of that down, though. Again, there's so much. This car just does not want to turn. Or it does turn, it just doesn't turn it with any kind of speed. Pulled almost a second. So at this point, I just need to manage the gap to the car behind me and try to keep that half second, be more than a half second in front of Ziggy. Hold on to that 5th place. So. 0.5 back.
Final lap.
Copy that. That first couple of corners was not good compared to what I had been doing. So I really need to make sure I get this correct. So pushing a little bit. I just really need to nail the chicane in the final corner. I think I've got the horsepower to stay ahead of him. I cannot give up a half second here. Got to hit this well. What you do? There we go. And he really lost a lot of time. So that is the Nurburgring Sprint in the 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Folio? I'll have to look that. I'll have to ask Google how that's, is it folio or folgio? Horrible with the time. But anyhow, 2740. I would I would say it's probably going to be 18 laps at that point. To tack another one on. So yeah, 18 laps, and that would it's a one-stop strategy. Mediums and hards is still viable. It just makes one of those stints a little bit sketchier than the other. So your mileage may vary. But anyhow, with that, that's going to do it for the track guides. Again, hope you guys are having a great weekend, and we'll see you on Thursday night. Happy racing. Who won? Dan Greenwald, cheater. No, he was in third. Josh got second, and XPR Dartman Dan got third, or got first. Yeah, reverse podium, third, second, first. Anyhow, yeah, it's time to call it a day. Again, happy racing.